Okay, so today we're going to start on lesson 16. And this is actually a second video because the first one did not record my screen. All right. Okay, so 16.1, we're going to add some images. So to make, let me show you on my page. Okay, this is showing what the example page is going to look like, and this is what my page. Now I reset my code. I don't know why it's still showing on there, but we'll work with it. We'll add in the code if it's not already there. Okay, so we are on our business page. So let me make sure I'm on that. And it tells us to make the page look more interesting, we're going to add some images. Okay, so let me see if it kept my code from where I add the images. It actually did. Okay, so I reset my lessons because I was just going to rework through this with you, but I can just highlight the code that will do it. Okay, so it says to make the page look more interesting, we're going to add some images, and this is the way we add images with the IMG tag, the SRC attribute, and then this here is the image address of the picture. Okay. And that's okay. I just really kind of wanted to point it out. So it says add at least 2 images to your page that are similar shape. Click here for instructions on how to get the stock images. You can do that, or you can go, what I did, my business is Adventure Air Sports. So I just went and found 2 pictures on the internet that I liked. I right-clicked on the picture to copy the image address, and then I added that as the SRC there. Okay. Then it tells us to add the alt attribute. So here's an example of an alt attribute. And again, what the alt attribute does is if there's a person that cannot see to read the website and they use a screen reader, then whatever the programmer puts as the alt is what the screen reader will read about that image. So it would say there's an image of a child enjoying a zip line. Okay, so make sure your alt attribute, you add it with the equal sign, and then inside quotation marks is your alt text. Number 3 says set the image height attribute to 200 pixels. Okay. Now I do not see that on there, so I am going to add that. Otherwise, it's probably not going to. I think the reason, I think I changed it in, yeah, see here where there's a lesson that's coming up that you'll change it, but I'll put it in here for right now. So let me get back to my images. So I would just go here and I would type height equals, and it's 200 pixels. So that's what it would look like. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and put that down here. Okay. Now, real quickly, I'm going to go try to find a picture. So I'm just going to put Air Adventure, and I'm just going to show you how to get the picture to show up. So I'm going to go to Air Adventure, and I'm going to click on Images. And when I find the image that I like, let's say that I wanted to put this one in there, I would right-click on it, and I would choose Copy Image Address. Okay, so find 2 pictures that you like. Click on the thumbnail view, get the large view, right-click, and choose Copy Image Address. Okay, and then what you're going to do, once you copy that image address, that's where you're going to add that image address for your SRC, okay, which stands for source. So you've got your image tag, you've got your SRC equals, and then a set of quotation marks, and you're going to paste that image address in there. So that's number 1. Number 2 is going to be the alt, and number 3 is the height. Okay, you're going to check that, and then you're going to click next. Okay, I guess I need to check it. All right, and then click next. Okay, all right, here we're going to set they're showing you how to set the width and the height of an image using the image tag attribute, or we can also use a CSS property, and that's what I showed you a while ago. because these both do the exact same thing. This is using the width attribute, and then this is writing a width rule for the IMG rule, CSS rule. Okay, so it says add a CSS rule that makes your image height between 100 and 250 pixels, and then you're going to remove the height attribute for the image tags. So that height attribute that we just put in there, you can delete them. That's why a while ago mine wasn't there. So delete those two out, and then you're going to scroll up to the top. And if you don't already have an image rule, now remember, I've got text because I've already finished lessons 16 through 20. Okay. If you don't already have an IMG rule, make yourself an IMG rule. Okay. And then the only thing you're going to have in it right now, I think, is this height colon 100 pixels. It could be any number between 100 and 250. I think I played around with it last time, and I liked 100 to get, I like that size for my pictures. Okay, so you'll probably only have your IMG rule. Don't worry about these other lines of code, 53, 54, 56. They're probably not there yet because I think we're going to do that on some lessons that are coming up. But this is the line of code that you will write for 16.2. Okay, and then make sure you remove those height attributes for the image tags. Okay, we're going to check that. And we're going to move on. All right, 16.3, image borders. Now they're going to teach us here how to use a property called border style. It adds a border to an image, okay, like these examples here. Okay, that's a border all the way around the image. Now again, on my page, you can see that I used a dash border. So my code's already going to be there, but I'm going to show you. You've got lots of different options. If you actually click on here, it's going to show us. We look like this picture here. That's what a solid looks like: ridge, inset, outset, dotted, dashed, double, groove, and then of course there's no border there. Okay, so here they're telling you to add a double border to your images. Now you can always use that reference guide. Go back up here and click on border style, and then click on double, and it's going to actually give you the line of code. Okay. So you can copy that line of code if you want to, and then come back to your code and I'll show you where to put it. It says add that double border to your images. Okay. Now again, I kind of have more on there. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to get rid of that line of code. And so we're going to add border style and double. Okay. Mine looked a little bit different because I had already learned to choose the color and the size of it. So I kind of had some other things. So we've got border style, double. Okay, that's number one. Now it says set a border width to 20 pixels. Okay, so I'm going to go up under that. And I'm going to add border, whoops, spell it right, border width. And I'm going to make it 20 pixels. Okay. So this is number one. This is number two. Number three, now change your image border style to be the same as the example page. If we look at the example, okay, that looks like the solid one. So instead of having double, let's change it to solid. Okay, and see now my border looks exactly like the example border. Okay. And that's all you do for 16.3. So we're going to check that. And we're going to hit next. All right, 16.4. We can change the color of this border. Like right now it defaults to black. But if we want to change it to another color, we would use the border color property. Okay. So it says set the border color to gold. Okay. So I'm going to go here. Border color. Colon, and then gold, semicolon. So now notice that the color of my pictures, the border color is gold. Now it says delete, number two, delete the border style property name and value. Okay, delete the border style property name and value. Name and value. So that's this one here. So we're going to get rid of that one. Okay. Now what they want you to see is if you get rid, even though I've got border colored gold, if you get rid of border style, it takes it away. And that's down here. It says this makes the border disappear. We'll fix this in the next task. Okay. So check that. We're going to go to next. Okay. All right. 16.5. Yeah. Okay. 16.5. As with font, we can write border properties in shorthand using just the property named border. Instead of having border color, border style, border width, we can just have border. And this is why mine looked different a while ago, because I had already completed this lesson one time and my code was still there. Okay. So first would be the border width. Then it would be the style, and then it would be the color. Okay, so we're going to take what was those 3 lines of code here. Now border style is missing, that's okay. We would take those 3 values and properties and combine them into one. Okay, so number 1 says set the image border style property to one of the following. Okay, set the border width to any value between 1 and 8 pixels. Set the color to any color except black, and then we're going to combine those into one line of code. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of those 2 other lines. So now border style is gone, border color is gone, and border width is gone. Okay, so we're going to use just border. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is decide what kind of border we want around it. Now I had the dashed a while ago, so I'm going to stick with dash, but you know what? That's not the first value. The first value is the width. I'm going to choose one kind of small. I'm going to try 2 pixels and see what that looks like. The second one is the border style. So that's where I'm going to put the dashed. Okay. And then the third one is the color, and I'm going to do red. I'm going to kind of keep it the way I had before. Okay. So that's what it looks like. Now it says here on the border width to choose anything between 1 and 8. I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, I like that one better. That's kind of more like what I had at the beginning of the lesson and what I did last time. Okay, so that is this line of code here. My line 53 is number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Number 5, use the font shorthand property several times to replace all the font properties used in your CSS. Use a size between 12 and 18 for your HTML font property. Okay, so what you're going to have to do, I'm going to scroll all the way to the top. What you're going to have to do is look for each rule. So here's my anchor rule. Okay, I don't have anything in there that has anything to do with font. Okay, well, I don't know. This might have said no color is. Font color is just, it's always been color. So nothing in there for font. My A hover rule, I don't have anything there for font. Whoops. Here now, my A hover or my A visited, I don't have anything for font. So your H1 is probably where you're going to find 3 lines of code, or maybe just 2. Maybe it's just 2 with font. Okay, it's going to have your font family. And then it's going to have your font size. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to combine those 2 lines of code into one. So you're not going to have font family, you're not going to have font size, you're just going to have the property font, colon, and then here's going to be your font size. There's no comma after it, but put your font size here, and then this is your font family. So whatever you had as font family, you're going to put it right here. Okay, if it's one that had a comma in it, make sure that comma remains, and then make sure you have a semicolon at the end. Okay, so do that one. Then down here for your H3, okay, you probably also here have font size and font family. So you're going to combine those into one line of code. And if you need to stop this recording for a minute to go and do that, feel free to stop the recording. Okay. And then let's see, header, footer, we don't have anything to do with font here. HTML, now here you probably only have your font family. But down here, number 5 says, use a size between 12 pixels and 18 pixels for your HTML font property. Okay, so you're going to have to add this one in here. I picked 16. I probably tried 12, then 14, then 16, and 18, and then I just settled on 16. So make sure for your HTML rule that you've combined your font size and your font family into one line of code. And I think that's the only one that has it yet, because your UL doesn't have anything to do with font. Your property does, your paragraph doesn't have anything to do with font. Body doesn't. So you should have that line of code for HTML, H3, and H1. So there should be 3 places that you combined your font properties. Okay, and then you're going to check that. Combine 3 plus image. Did I not do it for image? Let me go to image. Yeah, I did it for image. Combine 3 border properties. What did I do wrong? Let's click on it. Border 4 pixels. They want us to keep it solid. I guess we can't choose our own yet. Ooh. Oh, I guess that they never saw me do them individually. Jeez. Okay, so I guess replace border copy, border color, border style, and border width with the border shorthand. I did that. Okay. I think it's because I already had it done. They never saw border color, border style, border width separate. So I guess I had to have them separate and then put them together. But y'all, I am not going to take the time on this video to go back and redo it. Okay. Because I guess they wanted me to change the border style to one of those, and then have border width to one of those, then border color to any color but black, and then combine them. So the reason it's marking it wrong is because I already had used the shortcut property. But like I said, I'm not going to worry about it marking it wrong. I'm just going to go down here to lesson 17 and start here. Okay. I think this video was 17.1, 17.2, and 17.3 originally. So I'm going to do 3 more lessons and then I'll end this video. Okay. All right. So on 17.1, the margin property. Okay. Now again, I'm going to run into the same problem that I did to the other ones. I'm going to have to undo my shortcuts and put them in the long way. So that's okay. I'll do that. Okay, so here they're teaching us how to use a property called margin. And there's 4 margin properties. There's margin top, margin right, margin bottom, margin left, and they're set clockwise. So you would always set the margin top, then the margin right, then the margin bottom, then the margin left. Okay, so number 1 says add margin top 2 pixels to the CSS rule for the H1. So let me find my H1. Okay, now here, like I say, I had already kind of condensed this for the lesson that's coming up, but I'm going to change it. Okay, so I'm going to change this to margin top because I want it to mark it right this time, and they want it to be 2 pixels. Okay, so there's number 1. So margin top for my H1, and I set it to 2 pixels. Then it says add the margin bottom for H1. So let's go here, margin bottom, and it says set it to 0. Now you don't have to put the PX if it's set to 0. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, set the margin top for the H3 slogan to 0. Okay, so again, I'm going to get rid of that code because that's for something that's coming up. I'm going to set my margin top to 0. Okay. All right. So here's number 1, number 2, and number 3. And pause the recording if you need to. So we're going to check this. It should check that it's right, and we'll move on to next. Okay. All right. Image margins. Now you can set margins for images just like you can your H1s and your H3s. So here it says set the margin right property to 20 pixels. So I got to find my image. So here's my image. Okay, again, I'm going to get rid of that one because that's the answers to a lesson that's coming up. It says set the margin right property to 20 pixels. So margin right, I'm going to set it to 20 pixels. Okay, then it says set the margin top property to 15. Okay, now top really should be set before the right because, like I said, we're going to go clockwise. So I'm going to do margin top 15 pixels. Okay, because again, you always set the top, then the right, then the bottom, then the left. Okay, so that's all for 17.2. So we're going to check it. One of your CSS rules is missing. Oh, yep, right there. That should have been a colon, not a semicolon. So that was a mistake. So I'll lose a point on it, but that's okay. So we're going to check it because I round up. So losing a point here or there every once in a while is not going to affect your grade. Okay. All right. So that's 17.2. So let's go next, 17.3. Okay. Now here it says add at least 3 paragraphs about what your business does. Put a paragraph tag at the start of each paragraph. Remember that we leave out the closing paragraph tag since it's optional. So let's do that. Now I've already done that. So let me come here. So my lines 87 through 91. Okay. I've got 3 separate paragraph tags. Okay. So there's my paragraph tag. Give me a sentence or two. What is your business? So let me put back on my page over here. Okay. So this is where those are actually going to show up under your pictures. Okay. So do a paragraph. Give me a sentence or two about your business. Then do a second paragraph. Give me another sentence or two about your business. And a third paragraph tag. Give me a third sentence about your business. Okay. So again, if you need to pause this video to put those in, go right ahead, but I'm going to continue on. Okay. All right. Number 3 says set the margin top for the paragraphs to 14 pixels. So you're going to go and let's get rid of this because again, that's for an upcoming lesson. So you are going to make a paragraph rule. Okay. So it's just a P for your paragraph, a space, a curly brace. And then the only line of code right now that you're going to have in there, you're going to add margin top, give myself a colon, 14 pixels. Make sure I do a semicolon there. And then number 4 says set margin bottom for the paragraphs to 10 pixels. So margin bottom, 10 pixels, semicolon. Now you won't have this line of code here, okay? Because that, again, that's an upcoming lesson because all my code stayed there. Okay. So you're just going to add this paragraph with and the curly brace, margin top and margin bottom. You're going to set those 2, and then of course the closing curly brace at the end. Okay. You're going to check that, and it should tell you that 17.3 is complete. Okay. Now there's the next video starts at 17.3, so I'm going to stop this one here, and then you can just watch the next video for 17.4.